Hello everyone, I had my mic on mute. Ah dear, will I ever get it right 100% of the time? I very much doubt it. Welcome to another live hangout here at Voice Essentials. You know, I love hanging out with you guys every week, Monday, 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But this, I think, is going to become a real highlight for all of us every week because, well, certainly here in Australia, as of today, we are, in the vernacular terminology, in lockdown. We have been restricted to two people gathering in public max. We're not allowed to gather with any more than that. With the exception of weddings, we're allowed 5 people to gather, and funerals 10. But we really are, you know, as a general Australian community, really shutting down as far as social interaction goes. And as hard as that's going to be, I actually think it's a good thing. It's hard medicine to swallow, but I think it's going to get us through. I hope you are safe. I hope you are healthy wherever you are. Why don't you let us know where you are in the world currently, what time it is in the world currently, and yeah, give us some insights into let everyone know in the live chat, you know, what's going on for you. Every part of the world is at different stages with this, and every local government jurisdiction is responding quite differently to this. But ultimately, you know, I want you to be safe and I want you to be healthy, and that is the main thing. I started, as many of you know, I've been teaching online for. Oh, hang on a second. Do you know, I've just realised. Oh no, I'm live. Just double checking. I've been teaching online for 10 years. I started way back when really the only option you had to teach online was via Skype. It was clunky and it was frustrating for both me and my students because it would fall over all the time. In fact, Linda, our moderator, she didn't start with me way back in the beginning, but she's been having individual lessons, private lessons with me online for quite some time. And even Linda can remember as far back as 2 or 3 years ago just how frustrating sometimes the software was. So fortunately, that's all quite mature now, and so I've just transitioned all of my students. I've got nearly 60 students currently. We have just gone 100% online. It's a new experience for my students to receive lessons in the comfort of their own home. It's not a new experience for me to offer them online, but we're going through that process now. Can I just take a moment to just say, if your singing teacher, and many of you are having individual singing lessons, many of you are not, but many of you are. If your individual private singing teacher, who you would normally go into studio with, is transitioning to online lessons, can I please encourage you, if it is financially feasible for you to continue doing your lessons, and of course, you know, here in Australia, many people, it's heartbreaking. Many people are losing their employment, and wow, that's pretty full on. But many people, fortunately, are continuing to work. So if it is feasible for you to continue having your lessons financially, can I encourage you to continue supporting your singing teacher by going through the process of learning how to do it online and having your lessons online? For many singing teachers, this is their sole line of income, and you know, and you will be doing them a great deal of service and gift by simply continuing to receive lessons and transact some dollars for them. That would be wonderful. Many of my students have been so kind to reassure me that they're continuing, and so I want to really encourage you to do that, because this is going to be a tough time for everyone, and I know this is going to be a tough time for a lot of my singing teacher colleagues across the globe. So please, 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 if you can continue having your lessons, please do that. Now, of course, many of you are not having individual singing lessons. If you are thinking maybe this is a time to have some lessons because you like us are in lockdown and you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs and you still have some dollars to spend, then I encourage you, have some online singing lessons. I provide them. You can check out my website. All the links are in the description section below. If you go to djarts.com.au, djarts.com.au, all of the information is there. You can check out all of my information about receiving lessons online. It's all very straightforward. Because I've been doing this a long time, my processes are very, very well oiled. So you should find it all pretty straightforward. And I'd love to have the opportunity to spend some time with you one-on-one. I'd let you also know that to help people who are going to find themselves with more time on their hands, I have discounted quite heavily all of my digital online materials. So all of my exercise series, the bundles, I've discounted them so that you can access them. Also the online course, I've taken another 25% off it. Now this is all going to be until the end of April, the 30th of April. Just to give you the opportunity to access it, to download it, to commence it. And I've also, because of the circumstance, I've also introduced a new subscription, a monthly subscription to this going along the bottom here, Voice Essentials online course. It is $19.95, only $19.95 a month. Now, importantly, understanding that when you sign up on a monthly subscription, at the end of every month, you know, you've got to continue that subscription, so to continue to have access. But I thought for the next 3 to 6 months, if many of us are going to be find ourselves locked away at home, to give you that instant, immediate access, I thought would be helpful. Of course, Voice Essentials 2, everyone, is coming. I will do all of the video recording after Easter, in the week following Easter, and then we'll go through the process of doing all the editing, etc. There will be a pre-launch special starting mid-May it will be in. So keep an eye out for that. It is going to be a heavily reduced price. At this stage, I'm looking at doing a pre-launch. So it won't go live until July at this stage. If we can get it to you sooner, we will. But at this stage, it'll be July, but we will do a mid-launch and it will be 50% off. So it'll be basically come to you for around about $100, 100 Australian dollars, which at the moment the Australian dollar is tanked. So if you're in the US, that'll only equate to about $60 to do all of Voices to actually, and that won't be the subscription, that'll be the outright price. So keep an eye out for that. One final thing, because we're going to do Q&A today and get to your questions, and I will do my best to answer them. I don't know it all. I say this all the time. I do not know it all when it comes to voice. There is too much to know it all, and we continue to learn so much at such a rapid pace about the singing voice, but to the best of my knowledge, I will answer your questions. One more thing, I just want to address a small point around the Facebook community, the Voice Essentials community Facebook group, which if you're not a part of it, seriously, become a part of it. It's an encouraging, supportive, wonderful community of singers from across the globe, and there are some really active and intentional and engaged community members on that page, and I encourage you to jump in and participate. Can I just let you know that this is across the board. This happens regardless of what scenario or crisis we are facing globally. But any religious content of any form, of any denomination, of any faith, will be deleted. Now, what I mean by that is there's been a couple of instances where we have found some like church services being uploaded or some preachers and whatever, that gets deleted. Many of you know I practice the Christian faith, but this space is not a space, the Facebook group, this YouTube channel, it is not a space for you to proselytize your faith. This is not the place to do that. You have plenty of other places where you can do that. This is not the place. You will never see me do that. Now, this is where we get into a little bit of grey. There are people uploading themselves singing. I've seen a couple of people singing Christian songs. It might be a worship material song or whatever. I'm going to, for the most part, I think we're going to leave them in place as long as there is no, spoken introductory sort of thing that would suggest to people that, that you're preaching at them. Just upload the song, because we are able to interact with it as a song and respond to it as a song, and your voice singing that song. And the narrative, which is important, we talk about delivering and communicating a narrative, and we are going to permit that at this stage. But of course, if I deem, and my moderators have all, we as a collective, we will know when to bring the axe down on this. Do not use it as a platform to preach your religious ideology. And I say that to my fellow Christians in particular. This is not your opportunity to do that. If you do that once, I'll delete the video. If you do it twice, you will be removed from the community. Please don't make me do that. I do not want to do that. But for the safety of the group, I will. And I think we all know that I won't muck around if that has to happen. Okay, so that's a nice way for us to get into Q&A. That was a bit rough, wasn't it? Necessary, but there you go. That's the times we are living in. Let's do some Q&A, everyone. I'm looking forward to this. There's already a whole heap of questions going on, and so let's jump in. Okay, I just saw Karen from Singwise jump in, another one of our moderators here. Hi Karen, good to see you. I so hope that you're doing well. I haven't interacted with you for a little while, and there's so many names that I see over here I'm looking over to a different screen, which is why I'm not pointing this way. I can see a whole heap of people there jumping in and interacting. It's so good to have you. Oh, one more thing. We're going to do Q&A. We are doing Q&A, but I wanted to show you something. Can I just show you something? Oh, come on. Android. I'm not going to be able to. Oh, I would have hoped to have shown you. Let's see if I can bring it up. I'm wanting to show you. Can you see over here? Now, why is that not working? I don't know. I was hoping to give you a close-up shot, but I got a printout of the Voice Essentials poster. Many of you saw a video recently of a video recently of I'm going to just get out of here. Come on. Many of you saw a video, Protect Your Voice from Disaster. Watch the video. The video has a link to download that poster and for free. And I got a big one printed off and finally got it put into the studio. Not that any students are arriving to see it, but anyway, you get to see it there. I thought I'd let you all have a gander at it. Okay, let's jump in here. Some good questions starting off. And remember, I made a commitment to you last week that the Voice Essentials Live Hangout is not going to be a coronavirus space where we're constantly talking about it. We will talk about it because it's, how can you not? But I really do want to keep this place as a place where you can escape to for 40, 50 minutes, talk about singing, really enjoy that area of your life. And for the most part, to not allow coronavirus to silence your voice. So Raheem Charles has asked, "Hi, Dr. Dan, are male and female voices one octave apart, like male F4 would be a female F5?" Let's answer that first. Raheem, no, it's not. It's not that simple. On one level, it's that can be a way you can think about it, but it's not that simple. Simply because the human voice is so diverse in its anatomy, from male to female, that we do have to be we have to allow for this really wide scope of the way the voice behaves. So one of the things that empowers my teaching is, as many of you know, I am what some contemporary teachers might call a true tenor, or a tenor will do. And some people want to call me a countertenor, which is a classical term. But what it means is I can sing higher than many of my female students, and so that empowers me to teach female voice from a emulation point of view. If I want to show a particular phrase, what have you, I can sing up with them for the most part. So we can't be so categoric as to sort of restrict it to only being male, one octave lower than female. You then asked, and can guys belt mix voice higher than F4, like some guys belt high in the 5th octave? So mix voice, this is where we get into some terminology, and we won't unpack this today simply because we've unpacked it so many times on the channel. If you jump onto the channel and go looking for a video about head voice, chest voice registration, and it will walk you through a bit of better understanding about things like mixed voice, chest voice, those sorts of things. Because if you've got a mechanical / acoustical understanding of voice registration, it will help to answer a question like the one you're asking. I tend to restrict the use of the term belt voice as being a shortened dominant M1, or what some people traditionally call chest voice sound only, that travels up into their upper register. Again, you've got to go and watch some videos from my channel to sort of understand the terminology there. And so I hope you can do that, Raheem. The Protestant Pope. Okay. Dr. Dan, in your opinion, from the top of your head, Who do you regard any famous singer as having the best technique which you admire, and in what ways are those techniques admirable? From the top of my head, you're putting me on the spot, Protestant Pope. Oh, dearie me. It's so hard to identify that for you, and I'm the moment I mention a name, I'm probably going to get countless comments saying, "Are you kidding me?" You know, so and links to them, to that, you know, said singer, you know, completely displaying poor technique. Equally, I could go the other way and tell you about singers who I might deem as having poor technique, that, you know, I'd then get countless emails sending me links to show them displaying great technique. It is a hard question to answer, and Protestant, I'm gonna go a hard pass on it, in part because of what I just said, but also because, you know, one of the great things about contemporary vocal is we put the voice out on a bit of an edge, and we play in a bit of a danger zone with it. Now, we do that in a skillful, mindful way, but audiences, it's sad to say, audiences want to hear you bleed, and some audiences more than others. It's one of the things that we love about contemporary voice is that it often has this incredible intensity to it, and within that intensity is often a sense of vocal tension, and that's what builds emotive levels. I say that to then also say, and if you've watched any number of my videos, you will know that we need to do that with great technique, no question. But we don't want technique to sanitize the voice to the point where it's dull and uneventful, and yeah. So, you know, singers who, you know, display great technique, you can probably identify them for yourselves. They're ones that perhaps have, you know, careers that have gone longer than your 2-hour fly-by-nighters, and they've established, you know, a way to manage their own instrument, their own voice, that gives them longevity. Because ultimately, technique is about establishing efficient vocal outcomes that are sustainable over time. And maybe that could be one test that you could apply to your voices that you enjoy. Ryan O'Rourke-lol. Can anyone learn to sing with that high-pitched, screechy, screamy sound that Brian Johnson of AC/DC does? Other examples: Dan McCafferty, Nazareth, Sebastian Bach, or Skid Row, or Axl Rose. If so, what are your tips? The answer to that is yes, Ryan. The answer is yes, with the caveat that some voices are going to do it better than others. So yes, you can learn to do it. In fact, there may not be another area of voice that is more important to develop technique around than distorted vocals, which is what you're referencing here. Because if you don't have like super secure technique for doing distorted vocals, your voice is in for a world of pain. So I really encourage you to look up groups. If you're looking for stuff online, search out Zen of Scream. Catherine Sutherland does some really great work in this area. So Melissa Cross and Catherine Sutherland are the two people that online that I would typically direct people to. We had Melissa Cross from Zen of Scream here on the channel as one of our shows actually last year, and she was a blast and she's fantastic. So go and check her out, Ryan, and be very careful. There are people online who purport, not this is not a sweet, this is a generalized statement. There are a lot of people online purporting to teach healthy distorted vocal, or they don't even call it healthy, they just call it distorted vocal or scream or whatever you like to call it, and they are really running the risk of doing your voice considerable damage. Please be careful. Kathy Grace Katabay, I always give it a shot. Hi, Dr. Dan. I'm always clearing my throat. How does this affect my voice? Well, Kathy, when we clear our throat, it creates a very abrupt, abrasive activity to the vocal folds. And so it actually heightens swelling of the vocal folds because they try to then cushion and protect themselves from that activity. And habitual clearers, really that can be quite problematic. So please try to get out of the habit of clearing your throat. Try to do what I just did. Always attempt to swallow first. Just your own saliva, as gunky as that is. Just clear, allow the larynx to free. Often, not always, often that need to clear has come from muscular tension within the larynx. So if you can swallow and have the larynx move up and down, it can release that built-up tension. And because clearing the throat is actually just exacerbating the tension often. So be very careful of that. Your second part of your question, can you please give me a free vocal exercise every day that can help to improve my voice and singing? That's a bold question, Kathy. I do have a course, a free 7-day course called 7 Days to a Better Voice. In fact, I think there's a link in the description section of this video, and it will send you an email every day outlining, just giving you some free instruction. Kathy, I have over 450 free to watch videos here on YouTube. So, there is plenty of stuff that is free for you here at Voice Essentials, and I hope you find that helpful. Angel asks, I'm a professional singer, baritone, tenor mix, and I have a problem getting past 40 minutes singing without my voice feeling extremely tired. I have tried a lot of things, but nothing has helped. Angel, if your voice is fatiguing at a and you're not getting past 40 minutes, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I would venture the thought that you are overdriving the voice, that you're spending. We've talked about a lot about the idea of vocal budget, right? And a vocal budget is, we all have so much to spend with our vocal budget, and you can increase budget with better technique, but you can also overspend for an item, right? So, if you were, I don't know, buying a mattress, I don't know why a mattress, but let's just say you're buying a mattress, you can spend, if you go to one store, you could spend $1,500 on a new mattress. You could find yourself at a completely different store spending $1,300 for the same mattress, exactly the same product. So you're getting the same thing, but you're spending more at one store and spending less at another. And that's what good technique seeks to do. It seeks to equip you with the skills to spend less on the same, if not a better outcome for your voice. And so I would be encouraging you, Angel. I'm not calling into question your technique because I don't know you. I've never heard you sing, but I would encourage you perhaps to do my online course. A big part of my online course is about teaching you to have better efficiency around the way you are using your voice. And I I know a lot of people in the chat at the moment have had the opportunity to participate in that online course and have got the benefits out of that. So you might want to check that out. The best of bluegrass. My dad is a professional singer of 45 years. Recently, his voice has deteriorated. He must clear his throat often. ENT says no nodes, but a lot of constant swelling. I wonder, there's a couple of things that might be at play here. The older we get, the thicker the mucosal layer can become. And so if your dad's been a professional singer for 45 years, let's pretend he started singing professionally at the age of 20, just to make the maths easy, which means he's 65, which means he is in that era, that stage of life where mucosal layer could be thickening. And so heightening hydration, water intake, might be helpful. But you might also like to consider reflux as a possible challenge for him if he's constantly clearing his throat. I guess we've got to identify what is the reason for the clearing. So it could be thickening of the mucosal layer. It could be dehydration. It could be allergies. You know, if he's got a postnasal drip, it might be that he's got a nasal polyp that is creating that. And so I'd explore further. Nodes is one of a number of different things that it could be, and you've done the right thing to have him go to an ENT. I would be exploring further. There's got to be a reason for the constant clearing, yeah, go looking for that. Dr. Dan, still have room for new students? Terry is asking. Yes. And sadly, a few of my students have lost their jobs. And so I do have a range of times that are going to be available for you all. So you can jump on and have a look at that, Terry. If you go to my website, DJ, D for Daniel, J for Jody, A for Apple, R for Robert, T for Tom, S for Sam.com.au. If you jump onto, there are links on that page, on that site, and you can actually pull up it'll show you the schedule of what times I've got available, Terry, so go and check that out. LOL says, Dr. Dan, I want to know how to use falsetto. I know how to activate it, but don't know how to use it with tune like those in mainstream songs, how they transition easily into it. Please help if you can. LOL, you can jump over to my site. There's a whole video about falsetto. Developing your registers, and falsetto is a register. We look to develop our registers individually, and then we bring them together and we learn to transition between registers and we learn to manage the mechanics of the voice. And so falsetto, you are strengthening muscles. It's funny because when we think of falsetto, we often think of it as being this really light, airy, breathy sort of tone. And so as a result, we think of it as being light, muscular activity. But in fact, it's actually just it's a muscle management that needs one set of muscles, the cricothyroid muscle, to strengthen, and so you've got to actually build that muscle in order to access falsetto well as some others. For those singing teachers who are thinking, don't forget to mention the cricoarytenoid muscles. And yes, I know all of that, but for the simplicity of what we're doing here today, that's where you can go for that. LOL. Aqua. I over-practiced and my voice becomes hoarse. I think you've identified the issue yourself. You've over-practiced. How can I overcome this problem without taking a long rest? Aqua, the solution is to take some vocal rest. Actually, your question gives rise to a really important point because there are so many people at the moment jumping on, and I'm just having a look over my shoulder here. There are so many people jumping on and and getting into this singing thing, which is just so fantastic, especially at a time like now. Singing doesn't just pass the time. Singing has been shown, studies have shown it to help boost your immune system. No, it does not cure coronavirus, but it will boost your immune system. It stimulates brain activity like nearly no other activity on the planet. So it's so great for your mental strength, and it releases incredible amounts of endorphins into your bloodstream. The feel-good brain drugs that just give you a real kick. So good to see so many people taking up singing. But the danger of this is you could fall into the trap of doing it too much. If I was to suddenly decide tomorrow I'm going to run a marathon, 42 kilometers. I don't know how many miles is a marathon. I don't know. Was it 30 mile or 42k. I would, firstly, would I finish? Maybe not. I think I'd really struggle. I'm fit, but I'm not fit to the task of doing a 42k marathon. And so what I have to do is I have to build my fitness over time to be able to run a 42k marathon. Now that, with the right coach and the right instruction, that might take me anywhere between 3 to 6 months. If you're a PT watching this, you're probably laughing. I don't know how long it would take. It's going to take time is what I'm trying to get at. And it's the same with your vocal health. When a new student starts with me, we start with 20 minutes of practice every second day. And you're thinking to yourself, 20 minutes? Only 20 minutes? When you work out the voice in a really intentional manner, 20 minutes is more than enough when we first start, every second day. And then every new lesson that I see them, we increase that by 5 minutes because we're adding exercises, etc. And we build up over time to the point where we're doing about an hour every second day. Why every second day? Well, because we're giving the voice opportunity to rest. Now, many of you in your current circumstance are going to be thinking, I'm not going to only do it every second day. I want to do it as much as I want to. Well, that could leave your voice in a spot of bother, so be careful. Can I also say that, I would be encouraging you to only do it every second day to start with, because you've got to give the voice repair time, rest time. But even if you have a well-established technique, and then I encourage you to only be practicing. I'm talking about technical practice here. Technical practice requires an intensity of your musculature, perhaps in a way that just singing songs, sitting on the couch won't. But I only practice maximum 5 days a week. Give your voice 2 days of rest a week. And if you think, forget it, Dr. Dan, you're a joke, please, 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 at least give your voice 1 day of rest. Your voice needs rest. Do not over sing. You will end up hoarse. And right now, if you have a vocal fold blowout, there will not be medical staff to look after you. That's the harsh reality. They're off on the front line of this war with coronavirus, dealing with life and death situations, and your vocal fold hemorrhage, because you've over-practiced, will not be at the top of the list. That sounds really harsh, but I think that's the world we're currently in. So you're better off to play it on the side of caution than you are to be foolhardy and just go for it. Rest the voice. Accra, that wasn't targeted at you. That was for everyone, so I hope you don't take that all personally. So if you might need a bit of 2 or 3 days vocal rest, Aqua. in the short term, take some time off. I know you're not going to want to, but I think you might need to. Yeah, your voice is hoarse because the vocal folds are swollen. The vocal folds, when they're swollen, the capillaries within the vocal folds, they surface. They come to the surface. That's where they become, you're in that zone of potential rupture, which is a vocal fold hemorrhage. And if you do that for long enough, and the vocal folds don't hemorrhage, let's say you get lucky, well, you can create other issues like nodules, like polyps. So be careful out there, everyone. 7 animal over 7. I don't know how to say all that. I really need advice on if I should continue trying to sing. I suffer from vocal muscle tension dysphonia, MTD. I have been to countless ENTs, coaches, pathologists after 7 years. Should I give up singing? I don't hold a magic wand, and so I would never tell you that I've got answers. I've worked with a number of students over years who have had MTD, and in team with an ENT and a speech pathologist, I have played my role in helping the voice to recover. The challenge with MTD, muscle tension dysphonia, is it presents we kind of use MTD as a bit of a blanket, as a bit of an umbrella term, because it's kind of, MTD is happening within the voice in a very unique way for every voice. And so it depends on the severity, it depends on a whole range of things. So, I wouldn't want to see you give up singing. I can hear the frustration in your question. My hope to you would be that you would be able to continue singing. I would be happy to do a range of series with you online, and I've got a whole heap of activities that I do with singers that have MTD. But what I say to every student who rocks up, suggesting or having been diagnosed with MTD, is that okay, well, let's see what outcomes we might arrive at, because there are no guarantees. I wish there were, but there aren't. And so you kind of have to step into that process with myself, understanding that we go into it, to explore together what might come. Hope that's helpful. Benia Achura, I don't sound good while recording. What should I do? Do more recording. Spend more time recording. Recording is a skill like any other, and spending more time in the recording booth, practicing that skill. Also developing your mixing and your engineering skills, your production skills. But then, back away from that, developing your technique, being a craftsman around your voice and how you're able to develop tone and all those things. My online course really goes into, Voice Essentials 1 online course really goes into tonal shape and the development and management of your mechanisms so that you can have better outcomes around those things. So you might want to check that out. We have only got time to do a couple more questions. Gee, we've had a lot of you on the show today. I hope you've all been enjoying the show. If you have, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, because I am enjoying doing these shows for you. Varuni, which instrument is best to help learn singing for a beginner? Piano. Some people are skillful enough on a guitar that they can use guitar. I think piano really is. I don't think you'd find many singing teachers that would disagree with that. I'm answering the question as which is best to help learn singing. But you know what? Most of us, we only have time to learn one instrument. And many of you watching this show, that instrument is singing. And that's why in my lessons, we use the Voice Essentials exercise collection, the MP3s, the tracks, because all of those scales and everything, they're played for you. and so you can sing along with them and you're not having to worry about learning another instrument. But certainly, to answer your direct question, which instrument is best? Piano, keyboard would be what I think. Definitely for a beginner. Kaind Adepoju, how do I learn how to sustain falsetto as a male? I think we answered a falsetto question earlier in the show. I hope you grabbed that. Jump over to my the channel, check out the video about falsetto. You can check that out. Susie, hi Susie, do you have any good quick exercises for releasing tension in your neck and shoulders? Yeah, all of Voice Essentials 1 there's so much about tension management in Voice Essentials 1. If you're needing, specific instruction, Voice Essentials 1 online course, Susie. And I've also got a video about a whole body warm-up that I think you'll find really helpful. It's on the channel, that's free. You can check that out. And if you also go looking for neck release, oh, there's so many videos on the channel. Surf the channel, see if you can find some videos on, but that they are there. A big part of my teaching is about keeping this area free from tension. So there are many videos on my channel that are going to help you with that. Benjamin, guess what, mate? You get the last question. And we'll hold the other questions over. We're going to have... We've got time. Over the next few months, we're going to have time, right? So we'll come back to the other questions later. Hey, Dr. Dan, I'm 15 years old, dude, and would like to know what your top tips are for starting out. I would primarily like to sing hard rock, metal, but clean vocals are just as good. Great content. Thank you, Ben. It's been a while since I've been called dude on the channel, so thank you for that. My 15-year-old son would be surprised. Okay, for starting out, look, I would really encourage you to spend a lot of time on my channel, Benjamin. There is so much free content on there. If you want to have a directed way to approach this, you and your parents are okay for you to spend some money, then you could certainly enroll in the online course or self-direct yourself with some of the exercises that you can download from my websites. So that's the way you would go about it when you're starting out. I hope you heard me talking earlier about not overdoing it to start with. You've got to pace it. You've got to build your vocal fitness over time, especially at your age too, Benjamin. The comments I made earlier about vocal fitness, they're applicable to adults, but they're even more applicable to the younger voice. And even as a 15-year-old fellow, Ben, I presume you're a fellow. At the age of 15, we want to be really careful in not over driving what is a very young adult voice. So be very careful with that, Ben. I hope today's live hangout, I'm looking at the numbers going, wow, we've had a lot of people watching the show. We do the show every Monday, Australian time at 1 p.m, Australian Eastern Standard. Now, next week, I have a guest. We have guests here all the time. And for the next 3 shows, it is my hope that we'll be able to, and I've already confirmed next week, I'm going to introduce you to some of my Australian colleagues. I've had a couple of Aussies on the show over the years, but these women who I'm going to introduce you to over the next few months, these guests are amazing people at what they do. Next week, we're going to be talking songwriting. Francesca De Valiance, a woman that I've had the great honor of singing with in the past, fantastic voice, but her passion is songwriting, and she has a group called I Heart Songwriting. Get it? I Heart Songwriting. I love, but it's called I Heart Songwriting. You can look them up, and they are global. She's actually a friend of mine from here in Brisbane, but she's going to talk to us about songwriting. So if you're passionate about songwriting, then I want you to tune in. We're going to kind of talk about it from the angle of being a singer-songwriter, and which is very much her thing. And so I really hope you're going to be able to join us next week. If you're new to the channel, and I suspect many of you will have been, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the white bell icon to make sure you receive email notifications, just so you don't miss a show. Because, you know, right through, you know, I don't know how many live shows. We've been doing the live shows now for 3-4 years. Like, this is not new to many of us, but if you're new to us, then we hope that you'll stay with us as we continue to do the show every week. I look forward to seeing you next week when we have Francesca on the show, and I very much am looking forward to that. I hope you've enjoyed our Q&A today, and I'll see you. Stay safe, everyone. Yeah, self-isolate. Even if your government isn't telling you to, the less we congregate together, the less opportunity the virus has to spread. So I want your voices to stay healthy so you can keep singing. So do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. I'll see you again soon. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.